we are building a 600cc two-stroke MX bike, and in this video we are going to see it come to life for the very first time.
Well, it's got a spark.
So far in this story, you've seen us take delivery of the Panthera PM09 600cc two-stroke motor and fit it inside of our donor bike. You've seen the mods we've had to make and some of the dilemmas we've had to overcome. And of course, you were with us as we began our journey to make this bike look special as well. But today, it's finally time to fire this monster into life for the very first time. In this video, we'll finish building the skeleton of our monster machine to get it ready for the arrival of a very special guest who will join us as we attempt to get the big cat started for the first time in its life. But before you get too excited, if you can remember, we ended the last episode with a very big problem that we hadn't quite worked out how to overcome. So let's find out what happened next. Sean, talk us through what happened last time we were here, the problems that you had to overcome and what went down.
Yeah, so it was 2 steps forward and 10 steps back. For sure. When we were doing the dry build, you know, we were putting it together, everything looked good and everything in place and all the rest of it. But we didn't have the rear shock in, you know, when we were putting it together, you know, with the air boot and stuff like that. So I knew what I needed to do with the air boot, you know, to make it fit and get the airflow how we need it. As you see it now, it's at that stage, and we put the rear shock in and then discovered that the throttle body hits the shock with the air boot. And it's a major problem. You know, you can't have any contact between the engine and a moving part because obviously it's going to wear, it's going to cause all sorts of problems. So it's a massive headache.
So you went from like up here, you'd solved the airbox problem, you'd thought your way through that, got it working perfect, and then discovered this, and it was the roller coaster of emotions.
It was huge, and it happened at the end of the day when you've been flat out in the workshop all day, getting through other problems. We had all sorts, you know, just little problems, but you're getting through them. Sort the rads out, and you know, you're going through stuff and thinking through and what you do, and you're making good progress. Then right at the end of the day, you come up with this massive headache, and it was huge. Yeah, and it put a downer on the end of the day, didn't it? Really, to be fair, but you know, a bit of an overnight sleep and a bit of brainstorming. We spoke to Seb and, you know, said, look, we've got this issue. Basically, what we've done is on the air intake, you've got the reed block, and then you've actually got the air intake that goes to the throttle body. He said on that, if you somehow, you know, chamfer it down, make it run at an angle, you know, it probably give you enough room to clear the shock. So, yep. I did that. I mean, I've got no lathe, no machinery, nothing here, and I pretty much done it with a sander and then by hand. But I managed to then clock it at an angle. So I've reduced the reed block, not the actual reed block, but the reed boot that the throttle body sits in, or, you know, connects to. I managed to reduce it. It was 5mm, so I've reduced it from 5mm to 2mm to one end. So now it runs at an angle. So instead of sitting flat like that, it now sits like this, and that's just gave us enough room for the throttle body with the air boot on, clip everything that now clears the shock. So we did speak to some engineering companies, and they all said the same thing. It's possible, but there's no way we could hold it because it's rubber in our machines to then lathe it off. So old school,
by hand.
Yeah, just old school. You know, that's how it is. That, you know, that's how we do stuff, or that's how I do stuff. It's all, you know, it's all in-house. There's no fancy machinery. There's nothing. It's just old school stuff.
If it works, it works.
If it works, it works. Because it's quite easy just to put an engine in any chassis. You can do that. The most important thing is your air intake has to be 99.9% bang on, because as soon as you start altering the air intake and how you can get the air into the motor, you're then going to disrupt the brake horsepower, how the engine runs.
Breathe.
Yeah, it can't breathe. So, you know, you've got to make that as short as possible, because once you start extending it, if you extended it, it's like basically sucking through a long straw. You need that volume. I mean, look at the size of the pipe. You know what I mean? It's massive. So you need to get the volume of air in there for that to work.
Let's get cracking today then. We're going to start seeing this bike come together. Let's get him on the tools. Let's get him to work. So as you you can see, our clutch cover here looks so good in the silver and black. We wanted our ignition cover to match, so Chris at Supreme did that for us. So that's our first job today, is to get this on there, but we do need to take the pipe off first to get this on. So that is Sean's first job, get this ignition cover on. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it?
So here we are back in the garage. So today we're going to be building up brakes, putting seals in, pistons back in, get the brake lines on, get them bleeded. We just want to get it up so it's a rolling skeleton is where we want to be at today.
By the end of today, we'll have something that looks like a bike.
Well, yeah, it'd be a rolling
the bare
skeleton.
bones
The
of the
bare
bike.
bones, yeah.
First job is the brakes. How much do you enjoy doing this?
Yeah, I love it because it's like really intricate, and you know, you don't get frustrated at all when you're doing them. Do you know what I mean? So
really, I really believe you.
Yeah, so I'll enjoy the next hour or two, to be fair. So I shall crack on and get these rubbers in. When putting the pistons in, I've seen this a lot. People tend to, or some people I've seen, put these in the wrong way round. So what they'll end up doing is, you see how this is shaped like that? They'll end up putting it in like that. And then they wonder why they can't then bleed the brake up. So always make sure it goes that end first. Slips in. And it should go in nice and smooth. There you go, look at that. Beautiful.
Sean's top tips.
My top tip. Everything's built up, so calipers are built up and the master cylinders. Everything's a little bit intricate when you do stuff like, you obviously got to make sure it's clean and get all the seals back in, grease them, lube them and all the rest of it. But yeah, it's a bit of a ball achy job because it just takes a bit of time, and you know, the progress pretty much looks the same as, you know, when we started. But there you go. So that's all them done, and we're ready to put them back on the bike now. So happy days. So as you can see from the top engine bracket mount, it don't quite fit because we've had to like jiggle the pipe a bit so we've got clearance for the rad. Also the gas temperature sensor, like that's in the exhaust that they run as well, that sort of failed with the rad and the frame a little bit, so I've just had to adjust that as well. So we've got the pipe exactly where we need it. So on this, there's a slight adjustment. As you can see, I've already marked it, so I'm just going to take that bit of material out, get it lined up and get everything bolted on. So we're going to build at the front end, get clamps on, forks in, wheels. That means we can get the calipers on, get the bars on, get everything bled up.
Forks and wheels, probably going to be temporary at the moment.
Yeah.
We're going to upgrade all of that stuff a little later on when we do the final reveal. You'll see what wheels we've gone for, what forks we're going to get. But for the moment, we're just going to put the original stuff back in so we can get it rolling around, moving around easier, so we can take it off the stand.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right. Get hammering.
Plastic hammer, people, plastic hammer.
The calipers are on. They look so good from Supreme Coatings. Obviously, we've got a little bit of red highlighted in there. Front end's in now, so we're going to drop the bike down. Going to get that throttle on, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe have a look at the wiring loom.
Yeah.
Which is definitely going to take longer than we think. So it's getting late in the day, and that's when we start getting a little bit frustrated with things. So just trying to put the throttle cable on, and realised I should have done that before I put the pipe on, but you know what I mean, every day's a school day and you're always learning, so take note. Go away. This is just class of how late in the day it is, even though it's not that late, but been grafting all day. Somehow I've managed to put on the cables the wrong way, so the throttle works this way. Look at that. Yeah, maybe. That would confuse a few people, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Have you ever seen someone smile but you can see the pain behind their eyes?
Yeah, as always.
So that's another day in the garage, in the workshop complete. It's actually crazy where the time goes, isn't it? We didn't get quite as far as we said we were. We didn't get the loom on.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we're ready for the next stage of the project. Yeah. I think the plan is to get the man who birthed, the man who created this monster motor is going to come over for the first start-up. So
still quite a lot to do with the wiring loom.
Yeah,
because
that's going to take us a while.
We've not even, placed it on the bike. So yeah, getting everything connected up where it should be, routed where it should be, working out, especially with the fuel line. You can't really see it from there, but this really needs sorting out a bit better from where we're going to run, for its fuel, and the regulator for the fuel as well.
Come on, Phil, a bit more excitement from you, Sean. This is all fun and games, isn't it?
This is the easy bit. I know we've had problems throughout the build, and you come across stuff like that, but that, honestly, that's nuts and bolts. That's the easy bit. The difficult bit is next, with the loom, getting everything in place where it should be so it works. Yeah.
Exciting times to come, I
reckon. It's for you.
Yeah,
I've got to sort out the fuel system.
I get to watch
it
all unfold and follow the drama.
Yeah.
Sean is the drama.
I am the drama, definitely.
As day 4 in the workshop came to an end, this is what the bike looked like. We'd come a long way, but there was still a long journey ahead. So it's another day in the workshop. We've got a few smaller jobs to do today and one big job, so let's get cracking. So we're just fitting the hydraulic clutch hose. So we've had to make a slight adjustment on that because the KTM one, this eye here, it was 8mm. We needed 10 because obviously it runs a different slave cylinder. So then he'll have kindly made us this. So we're going to pop it on and it should all be hunky-dory. So you see this little plastic thing here? That cost me £17 because we misplaced the old one that came out. Didn't we, Sean? Found it.
Oh dear.
If this was a...
Did you put that back in?
No. Did you put it back in?
No. So always find the best way to bleed anything hydraulic-wise. Always back bleed it, especially when everything's new. There's no fluid in it whatsoever. Get a syringe, back bleed it, and then you don't have any air in the system. So as you can see there, I've got a fully working clutch with no hassle. So happy days.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful. So we're just building the brakes back up. We're going to put some new pads in there. We're going to use the ProWorks sintered pads. There's some great deals on the 24MX website for these at the moment. They're designed and developed for superior performance and durability. Let's get these in there. So that's the first job of the day done. A nice easy one, right Sean?
Yeah, because the motor's so big, the route for the rear hydraulic cable for the rear brake failed, so we've had one made again by Venhill, have kindly made us one 20mm shorter, so we're able to route it in a way so it doesn't foul with anything. So yeah, that's it was a headache, but it's done.
We're now on to the main job, which is going to take some time. I'll let Sean explain.
Yeah, so this is the wiring loom that now we've got to fit to that bike. Like again, everything's bespoke. Just gonna have to see where we can route it and get everything connected up, but this is one of the bigger jobs, so yeah, let's get cracking.
So as you can see from the time lapse, Sean is working away here behind me. This is one of those moments where I'm glad, very, very glad that Sean has the knowledge he's got, because this is probably the most complex part of the build so far. There's a lot of chatting to himself back there as he's working things out and figuring out where everything goes.
This is literally a Rain Man moment. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There's like all sorts of stuff going on here. Yeah, but yeah, getting there, working it all out, routing it where it needs to go.
There's just a lot of hushed kind of like this. He's like talking to himself, but we trust the process. We trust the process.
And the glasses have come on, so you know it's serious.
yeah, exactly.
What are you trying to say?
Professor Sean in the house.
These are my wife's glasses, ain't even mine. So we've pretty much got the loom sort of on, not just a bit of a, I won't call it a dry fit, but we've got the TPS sensor that needs to be extended. So the wires for that need to be extended. And then just try and clean up the fuel line, because that's a little bit, we don't really know where that's going, but I'll sort that out as well. I'll also extend this is for the ground for the loom, so I'm just going to extend that so we can get it fixed to the chassis somewhere. You're probably wondering why there's a fork in the vise, and that's because it's an Instagram hack. So it's very, very easy then to hold your wire. Look at that. When you're soldering it, magic. It's amazing what you find on the internet. So that's all the loom extended, so it's now going to reach. When I do looms and repair looms, I like to use amalgamating tape, which is this stuff, really good because it bonds to itself. It's good for repairing looms or any kind of electrical stuff really, and it's waterproof, so yeah, like it's just come straight out of the factory. Wear it like Mr. T. I ain't getting on no plane!
So Sean's just made the bold claim that he is an engineering genius, so I'll get him to explain how that is so.
So we've extended the wiring loom where we needed it. TPS sensor was the main bit, so now we've got that where we need it. And then just the ground wire, and pretty much the rest of it fitted. A bit of jiggering about, but got it to fit. And then just sorted out the fuel line. That's where the genius bits come in.
So what was the problem to start there?
Nothing major. It was just, it looked very awkward because it was on the outside of the frame with that engine bracket there. It would have, would have been rubbing under it. It wouldn't took long before it would chafe through it.
Yeah.
So I've just rerouted it to where I need it, just so it's tucked out of the way, and then we'll just then get a cable tie on that, pull it up so it's not rubbing on anything, get that back on. So yeah, I am a genius.
I won't disagree this time. So we said it was going to be a big job, and it was. We've been here for quite a few hours getting this all routed, but job done pretty much, yeah?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Yeah, so the wiring loom's on, everything's connected up, it's, routed. We had to change just a few things, a few of the connectors and that for the fuel pump, because obviously this is a KTM tank with a fuel pump in it, so just that change the end of that. It's took a bit of work to get it routed where we needed and stuff, and get everything so nothing's catching, nothing's rubbing, do you know what I mean, nothing's chafing, so I'm pleased with it. It's been a testing day, but
it's not been an action-packed day, let's say.
No, it's been quite boring, but
productive.
Well, for you, but not for me.
Yeah, your brain's been spinning at a million miles an hour, but a productive and important day. It's important to get all this stuff right.
Yeah, for sure, because it's like that is now, we're just now waiting for the ECU, and a couple of little bits like the airflow sensor here that we just need to. We can't really do anything with that until we get the ECU.
Yeah, and once that's here, game on, right?
We'll be pressing the button.
We'll be pressing the button. Everything else is just aesthetic for us to make the bike look as cool as possible, to make sure the looks match the motor and the performance.
Yeah.
So we're cracking on now. It's getting close to the end. Close to the beginning. Let's say. Last job today is we're going to get rid of these old pegs and we're going to get some ProWorks titanium pegs on there. So that is your last job to do today. These ProWorks pegs are from our friends at 24MX. You can grab these. They've always got some good deals on the website. These are top quality products. So we're going to get them on there now.
So that's day 5 in the workshop done, and we are almost ready to get started. All we need to do now is wait for an important man to fly across an ocean whilst carrying a very special package. That wait is why this episode has taken a little longer to arrive. But rumour has it, the Eagle has landed. So another day, another workshop. We're in the hardcore racing workshop today for what should be a momentous day for the Panthera project. We've got a very special guest joining us today all the way from Canada. And that dyno in the background might give you a clue of what's around the corner. Exciting times. Let's get cracking. Here we go, Seb from Canada.
What's up? How's it going?
So you've made the trip down across the pond to see the bike.
Short night in the plane, yeah. I wanted to come by and have a look at the beast that you guys are preparing.
So this is the first time Seb's seen the bike, so I'll let you take a look around.
That looks good, doesn't it? It's like this engine's made for that shit, isn't it?
So Seb here is the man behind the madness, the man that's designed and built this motor for us. And you've come all the way over from Canada for our big moment today for the first startup, but you have brung the ECU with you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, like when we ship you the engine, you're one of the early guys to get one, so we didn't have our stock of ECU ready yet, so I just thought, well, I had to ship it to you, why not just come over, bring the ECU, do a little checkup with you on the bikes, look at the sensor connection, make sure everything's right for the great moment. And we'll do that today and make sure it runs perfect.
Yeah, so we've got a little bit of work to do this morning before the magic moment when we hit this button. So let's get cracking, because I think we're all ready and raring to hear this thing come to life, right? Yep. And I know the guys watching are as well. So let's get started and then let's get fired up.
Perfect. Yeah, so the guys at AIM have been so amazing, honestly. They're an Italian company that makes ECU with their bikes, and they've been so nice to work with. We had so many requests with that engines about specifics on how to deal with those big bore two-stroke. Obviously, we've learned a lot from companies back in Canada about snowmobile two-stroke. They're the best of the best in snowmobile area in terms of fuel injection for two-strokes. And we've learned so much about how they manage and control and compensate the fuel in a two-stroke. So we had a bunch of requests about how the strategy we wanted them to be applied for that big bore two-stroke. And the guys at AIM just did everything we asked for. They've been super cool. They've sent us new software specifically for our projects. So shout out to those guys. They've been amazing to work with, and their software works amazingly. We really control everything that's going on with that engine in terms of temperature, elevation, exhaust temperature, engine temperature, all of that. So it's a full standalone unit, and it just keeps the engine working perfectly every time. So really happy about that setup. And let's have a look at all the sensor reading, do a little checkup, fuel pressure, all that. We also monitor fuel pressure just to be sure that the engine always has the proper amount of fuel, whether the fuel filter is dirty, well, since we're fitting in it so many bikes, some different fuel pump will have different fuel pressure. So it will change the amount that the injector sends. So the fuel pressure sensor will actually read that difference in pressure and adapt it and compensate in the ECU. So today we'll make sure we have proper fuel pressure in the area of 40 psi, 50 psi. That's normally where dirt bikes are at. And once we're good about all those readings, then we'll be able to fire it up. Let's have a look. So obviously, all the engines we ship, this doesn't have to be done because we do have the ECUs and we prepare your ECU for your engine before we ship it. Like I said earlier, we chose to ship here the guys at 999 their engine before we had their ECU ready. So that's why I have to do a little bit of checkups of sensors right now. Just make sure that everything's calibrated correctly. We'll do the TPS, we'll do all those sensor calibration to make sure everything's right and ready to roll. But normally when we ship an engine with its own ECU, which is purposely calibrated for that engine, it's locked with the serial number to that engine. Everything is done, so there's none of that to be done. It's just a plug and play and fire up already, ready to ride. So, but yeah, just a little bit to do right now with these guys to make sure everything's fine. So engine temp, coolant temp, we got atmospheric pressure right now. It's almost 1 bar, so 997 millibar. Are we close to sea level?
Yeah,
Here we are.
We might even be below in the thing. It's
Really?
the flattest part of the country.
Ah, so
I don't know if you noticed, but there's not a hill to be found.
No, true.
No mountains around.
Definitely. So let's do a throttle position sensor calibration. Max, do you want to go at the throttle? TPS calibration. So that's 0 and go full throttle. That's 100.
As Seb completed his final checks, we filled the bike with fluids, of course using our trusted Putoline to do so. You've seen us use Putoline throughout the build. They are big supporters of what we do and we love them for that. But we genuinely have used Putoline products for years, ever since I was a kid racing. So our big thanks goes to them for the support and for keeping our bikes in good health. After weeks of work, graft and late nights in the workshop, it's finally time to hit that button. What started out as a motor on our table and a dirty old chassis in the workshop has been transformed into this work of art. Now, let's bring it to life. So the moment of truth has arrived. It's time to fire up the Panthera 600 for the very first time. And as you guys know, Sean has helped us massively on this build. It's basically been his build, to be honest. But he's not here today, he's actually at work. So I'm going to try and FaceTime him now so he can be here for the moment that we've all been waiting for so long. So let's see if he answers. Oh no, he's unavailable. Right, so sorry Sean. Ready, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Try that. Excited.
Very, very, very excited.
We'll get there, guys.
It's getting closer, no?
I know it is. I think I have a throttle position sensor calibration situation, but let's have a look.
That's the one thing I did. Well, it's got a spark. So there we have it, the beast is alive. I'm so glad Sebastian was here to see it happen. Sorry to Sean who wasn't here, but he'll see it in good time. What's next on the agenda then? Well, as I teased at the start of this video, dyno is next. We're going to see how much power this thing is kicking out. What else is next? We're going to collect the special parts that we've got for the bike, and we're going to finish off the build, and we're almost ready to go riding. So all of that is to come in the next video, so be sure to subscribe to the channel not to miss those. Until next time, my name is Max, you've been watching 999 Laser. I'll see you at the track.